And moving out of that kind of small area where those games were, we have some other stuff. We had a Wii here set up with Dragon's Lair 1 and 2, and other games, which is pretty neat. And you have some movie posters, movies based on video games, including the awesome, incredible, super fantastic Super Mario Brothers movie, which everyone I'm sure has seen 30 times. And over here we had Super Mario World hooked up to a TV, although I'm going to do a really bad cut here, because directly to the right of that is some Super Mario and Donkey Kong concept art, which is absolutely awesome. I mean, you even get a write-up about him here, about how it was too hard to make him have a face, so that's why they made him have a mustache, using 8-bit graphics. How much can you really do with that? So I thought that these were really neat. These apparently came right from Nintendo themselves, so I definitely needed to get, some nice shots of these. And then we go back to Super Mario. This was actually not Super Mario World. This was Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. Kind of had the double take later on in the day when I walked by and someone was playing Super Mario Brothers 1, but let's do some one-hand Super Mario World playing and fail miserably. No, I absolutely love Super Mario World. It's probably one of the games I've beaten more than any other game, as I beat it so many times, and played so many, kind of modifications of it. I'd love to have a, sit down one day and just have a chat about how much of the inner workings of this game I know, as I love, talking about Super Mario World. Just such an incredible game when you really dig down into, kind of the insides of it. It's funny just how some things work. Let's see, let's jump along here. This is the final try. Let's see just how far we can get. This is not the best level for playing, with one hand, because the whole thing is just a massive hole with floating platforms with it. But anyway, to the left of that, we have Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm like, wow, it looks like they're playing Sonic 1 on, the original console it came out for, which was the, the Nintendo Game Gear. This is Sonic Mega Collection. Which, I mean, it is good that they set up these collections, as of course, it doesn't limit people to only being able to play one game on that, and then, I'm like, Andrew, we have to play every game with one hand today. So we kind of just went through here, and then I fell down into this hole, and I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get up that ramp with holding the camera in one hand. And of course I'm playing with, the left hand as well, which is not my most dexterous hand, so this wasn't going to end well in the slightest. Although I'm like, wow, there is a game that you can definitely play with one hand. Pac-Man is, you only need to move the joystick, but of course someone was playing that, so we'll have to come back to that later. But here we have Tron, which definitely does not look like it is easy to play with one hand, and Buck Rogers, made by Sega, which was pretty cool. And we have some more, pretty neat stuff on the wall here. Hopefully it's showing up well on the camera. I'm not really too sure just how well it is. I have to kind of go slowly across some of the things, but hopefully people can get a good look, and hopefully some of the text on the wall has been showing up well. But if you look to the left over here, we have another kind of area, and we have some pretty interesting games set up here. So we have, some of those Sesame Street games for the original Atari 2600, and we have some NES, and we have some Bob the Builder for the Wii, and we have Hey You Pikachu, which is kind of funny. It's that game that used the microphone, although of course the foam yellow ball wasn't on the end of the microphone. I believe that was Poke Park, which is actually a game I've never played, because it's always like $60 at Walmart, and no, I'm not going to pay $60 for a game I have no idea what it is. And we have Pokemon Blue, and I was like, children's games? You're calling Pokemon Blue a children's game? This is the most absurd thing, and I, for some reason, though, had to run into the picture, because, okay, Bob the Builder, children's game. Pokemon Blue, I wouldn't necessarily call that a children's game. I mean, of course, it's just because, a game that a child can play, I don't think it's necessary to really consider it into that category, but, not like it really matters. People can call anything whatever the heck they want, and it doesn't really concern people who like it. This is the Pokemon art section, which is pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of neat things here. So hopefully I go slow enough that people get, a good look at it, which is pretty neat. Children's game, man. Here we have this kind of dome in the middle with some pretty neat stuff in it. A lot of odds and ends, like the white Game Gear there, which is really cool. The Game.com, Atari Lynx. We have Wonder Swans, and a whole bunch of really neat stuff in here. We have the Turbo Express, Neo Geo Pockets, some virtual memory units from the Sega Dreamcast, Tamagotchi. So there's some really, really neat odds and ends in here, which was pretty cool. And even some, like, the Merlin and the tabletop arcade systems and the Blip, and yeah, just some really neat. Like they don't necessarily fall into a certain category of console. I mean, of course, like things like the Neo Geo Pocket. I really like it as a portable console. Over here we have Sony's supermassive portable console display, which will never be beat out by any other company ever. I mean, no one would even dare enter the market against them, right? Oh, I mean, wait, we have Nintendo's display of like 5 billion portable consoles. We have DS's, Game Boy Advance Micros, Game Boy Lights, Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Originals, Game & Watches. Yeah, I think Nintendo kind of owns the portable console game market. Portable gaming. Hopefully, I didn't reply that too fast. Here we have Sega Saturn Bomberman, which is kind of neat because you can set it up to be 6 players, and that was kind of what they did here. Although, unfortunately, at this point, there were not 6 people available to play. And, of course, over here, they had Super Smash Bros. I'm like, I want to beat people so bad. But, I was kind of filming, and I'm like, I'm not going to try playing Smash Bros. With one hand. I did go back later, and I did win, but I'm not claiming I'm the best Smash Bros. Guy ever. I'm actually pretty bad at it. So, I mean, if it was anyone really awesome at the game, I definitely would have been smoked. The worst part was that the rubber kind of thumbstick had rubbed off of, the rubber kind of cover had rubbed off of the GameCube controller thumbstick, which was disappointing. Also, they didn't have any secret characters unlocked, which was unfortunate. It was, I guess, they turn it off every night, and there was probably no memory card, so I couldn't use, any of the characters I would normally use while playing Super Smash Bros. Here we have one of these things, and it definitely did things. I can vouch for that. And going around the table, and this was the point where I'm like, darn it, Andrew, how could you not think to bring your 3DS for street passing? When I go to the Science Center, the first thing I think to do is not bring my 3DS. But yeah, I should have realized they would have some set up there. And go some PSPs and stuff. And this thing here is a Donkey Kong Game & Watch, but it was kind of, it was clearly supposed to be stuck open, but someone closed it. And trying to get it open with one hand was not super easy. So I'm trying to get it open here in about 20 minutes of fiddling later. I did it, although unfortunately I think the batteries were dead, which kind of sucked. All that work for nothing. And turning around over here, we have the Kinect, which is pretty funny. I have not used the Kinect very many times, so I'm like, okay, let's kind of stand here and try to get things to work. Although, unfortunately, that never ended up working out very well. The best part is that later on in the day when I walked by, there was a massive message on the screen saying that in order to do the next part, you are going to need an Xbox 360 controller, but there was no Xbox 360 controller there, so pretty much it was stuck all day and no one could play it. As you know, when you play the Kinect, the last thing you're ever going to expect to need is the controller. Like, how kind of ridiculous is that? Anyway, moving on, we have some more stuff on the wall here. Some kind of, magazines, which is pretty cool. Fortunately, there's no way I'm going to be able to, get all of those on camera for everyone to read. Magazines. Although to the left here, we have the Virtusphere. And this is interesting. This was a thing that you got into and you did things, and I have some footage of me actually trying it out. It was not open at the point of filming this, so there's going to be an absolutely terrible cut incoming in a couple of seconds, because it wasn't open until 11 a.m. Like I said, this was about 10:30, probably almost 10:45 at this point. So here's me getting in there. And you had to put on kind of these crazy goggles. So, you put them on your head, and you had to adjust them because, of course, whoever put them on last had a really small head. But still, this was really interesting. The way it worked is you got in there, you put on these goggles, and there was a screen inside the goggles. It was supposed to be like you were looking around in this virtual reality world. And you moved around inside this ball, and it was supposed to be like you were walking. And it was definitely interesting. We'll see in a couple seconds here when I actually get going, just to put this thing on so I don't fall out. And here we go. So, no, it's supposed to be like you're walking around in this world. I'm going to show the screen in a second, because there was a screen set up so that you can see what I was seeing. Walking around inside of a gigantic hamster ball does not really replicate walking around in the real world very well. And when you see the screen, you'll realize, like, I'm walking straight, but it's, like, doesn't really walk straight in the game. Yeah, my camera guy did a very good job here. So here I'm kind of walking straight. You had to pick up like stuff off of the floor. Like, that's me walking straight, although it kind of veers you off on a 45-degree angle, which was kind of funny. Also, the goggles weren't working super well. I have to admit that the picture when I was looking in the goggles was very flickery. That's probably because, like I said, this exhibit's been here since March, and I'm sure that more than one kid has probably dropped them on the floor and broken them. But it was an interesting experience nonetheless. Although, if this is, like, the future of gaming, I honestly have no problem with sitting down and using a controller. I'm not really too worried about, getting this gigantic ball and going inside it and walking around and saying this is the future of video games. It was interesting to try, but I'm not really something I'm too worried about. Like, there's me walking straight, and I, for some reason, can't even, go straight, and I'm veering into walls, and it's kind of really bizarre. I mean, it was definitely interesting, and I definitely recommend trying it if you make it to the exhibit before it's gone. But it's definitely, not super revolutionary, in my opinion. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry if someone who made it is watching this video. I mean, it was definitely interesting to try out, but, it has a lot of kinks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's a long way to go before this is the video game of the future. But yeah, I mean, walking around inside of the ball definitely did not feel like, walking casually in real life. But to the left of that, we had an interesting setup where we had Rad Racer from the NES and Rad Racer from the Famicom. And in Japan, Rad Racer, you had to use this special Nintendo kind of 3D glasses system, like the 3D glasses from the Sega Master System, if you wanted to play in 3D. Meanwhile, on the NES, you just use the normal red and blue 3D glasses. So it was interesting to have those side by side and be able to compare them. I thought that was actually really, really cool that they did that. And here we had some more arcade games set up. Of course, we have the original Donkey Kong. I don't know how they could put this here and have all the kids destroy it. I would be completely devastated. Although it actually looks like people have been taking nice care of it, which is good. And we have some Mappy Land. And Track and Field. And Thunderblade. And Outrun. Oh, and Virtual Fighter 2. How could I forget Virtual Fighter 2? And then on the other side, there was also Golden Tee. This game used to be set up at my bowling alley. And we have some pretty cool Japanese Sega arcade machines, which is really neat. I mean, you get the stools there and you sit down at them. And here we even have a Nintendo arcade machine. I really wanted to play some Super Mario Bros. 1, but kids were playing it all day, which I mean is good. This is probably the first time that kids have ever actually played the original Super Mario Bros. And possibly even played an NES game, which is actually quite sad when you think about it. It really is too bad, but luckily, they had the opportunity to try it out at this exhibit. And also, I kind of, broke into this room back here, which I'm not entirely sure what this was all about. Looks like maybe at one point there was a movie back there, about the history of video games or something, but it wasn't there anymore. Also, the exit was down there, so we were pretty much done with the exhibit, although I couldn't leave without doing a couple more things first. Yeah, there's the exit door. It's pretty exciting. There's the Virtusphere again. The super exciting spear of virtualness. But I had to go back and play Pac-Man, of course. Fortunately, this person only had one life left, so I was kind of like, let's just see how the heck we can do with one life. And this wasn't even, the original Pac-Man machine. I forget exactly what it was. I show the kind of name of it in a second. Let's see here. What am I going to do? I'm going to get destroyed. Now, there we go. So let's see, it is the exciting new Pac-Man Plus. What the difference is, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I could definitely see a couple differences in some of the items that showed up, but I'm not, the Pac-Man trivia extraordinaire, so I can't pinpoint everything that is different about this version of the game. But with 3 lives, let's actually try to beat the first level now. Still going to complain, though, because I mean, still, using your left hand to play Pac-Man, considering I'm right-handed, doesn't work super well. Yeah, let us see. Almost got caught by that guy there. See, there's like a can of pop or something in the middle of the level. And then how fair is it when the ghosts are faster than you are? This is clearly the cheapest arcade game ever made, and I want my money back. But overall, I mean, it was a really, really interesting exhibit. And if you ever get the chance to see it, because it wasn't only at the Ontario Science Centre, if you go to their Wikipedia page, it shows all the different places they've been set up. This is the first time that I've ever actually been in Canada, which is pretty interesting. But if you live in the US, I'm sure it will, be back in the United States soon. So definitely check it out if you get the chance. It was definitely a lot of fun to see, and try out all the things. Even though I had quite a few of the things, it was still really neat to see the write-ups and just try things out. Because there of course were those things that I wasn't really super familiar with. And really, I'm going to die with like 6 pellets left. This is the cheapest game. And just quickly go there. Almost got destroyed by that guy. And I think that is enough Pac-Man for today. I didn't even beat the high score of 9990. Unfortunately, nothing here really saves, so even if you got a high score, it's not like you could be like, I'm the one who got that incredible score. Also, here we have the very first ghost house of Super Mario World. I mean, like I said earlier, I love Super Mario World so much, I'm like, let's beat this crazy thing. But again, you know, trying to use the D-pad and the buttons with one hand, it doesn't really work. I wanted to hit that block so bad, because people, this is actually a pretty evil ghost house, considering it's the very first one in the game. If you don't know how the rooms in Super Mario World work, I mean, it can really throw you off, because every room looks the same. Meanwhile, this block, its contents change. Like, right now it has a P-switch, but what you really want to do is go in this door again, which will take you to a completely different room, even though it looks exactly the same, and that block will now have a vine in it. Super Mario World is an awesome game. I love this game so much, so, hey, don't miss the block, Andrew. We can do it. We can do it. Just get the freaking block. There we go. And of course, running out of time, but what do you expect? Trying to play with one hand. But overall, a very, very, very fun exhibit. Try the Virtusphere if you make it there. Even though, like I said, it was pretty interesting. But definitely not flawless technology in the slightest. But still interesting to try out. It just has a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. But overall, yeah, that is the Game On 2.0 exhibition. That was at the Ontario Science Centre. Like I said, it ends September 2nd, so if you're watching this video after that date, unfortunately you missed it, but I'm sure it will be moving to a new location soon, so look out for that. And yeah, check it out if you get the chance. But anyway, I think that is just about it for this video. Kind of going back and looking over some of the things that we have seen already. I'm going to have to go back and play Jack at some point. But yeah, here's the main room. Starting to get a little bit busier, because at this point it was almost 11 a.m. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And check out this exhibit if you ever get the chance.